whispering so that they did not hear us.
Katya, do I need to show the motion with the results?
Okay.
When they announce,
I am glad to announce that Tours Estonia has been accepted as a new ordinary member of EPSA. Congratulations. Thank you, Tours Estonia. This means that you are now full members of EPSA, and with the next session you will also receive your voting card. Okay, so we'll be moving on with the agenda, and the executive has also received 2 applications for associate membership in EPSA, and the first to submit their application was MSU Ukraine. And I will once again invite the representative of Ukraine to the stage to present his application, and then we will proceed with the procedure, which is of course exactly the same as acceptance of ordinary members, just that we are voting for associate members. And I see I have a point from Leo.
Leonor, EPSA Vice President of Internal Affairs. So Artem was super kind, and he brought me a book with information about his university. Also, he brought me like some leaflets, so if you want to look at them, feel free to come. Or I don't know, or maybe I can just like, okay, Church will give it to you, and you also have the book if you want to see.
Thank you, Leo. And with that, I will give the floor to the Ukrainian representative.
So, hi everyone once more. My name is Artem Krechman. I'm 19 years old and I'm from Ukraine. And I want to say good evening to everybody who knows how to work hardly, how to study over and over. I'm a third-year student, and I came from Ukraine, and it's great honor and pleasure for me to present not just only our association, Medical Students Union in Zaporozhye, but the whole Ukraine as well. It took months of hard work of huge group of patriotic, determined, and clever students of our university, and finally I'm here with you, and I'm very glad that I'm with you now. So, as Ukraine isn't a member of EPSA, I decided to call my presentation Ukraine. Why not? Next slide, please. So, first I'd like to give you a few words about my homeland. Here we are, orange, Ukraine. We have a sea. So, we have 2 seas, Azov and the Black Sea, so you may come to us to swim in cold water. Next slide, please. So, here are a few facts about Ukraine. As every country in the world, we have many places to visit, and some of them which are must to see when I'm in Ukraine. You may see here the Carpathian Mountains, the Crimea, and it's just the field, and it has the colors of Ukrainian flag. It's blue and yellow. Next slide, please. Ukrainian language is believed to be one of the most melodic ones. It's on the 2nd place after Italian. Italians, congratulations. And if you will hear our anthem, you'll understand why it's really melodic. Next slide, please. Ukrainian cuisine is very unique and definitely worth trying, so I hope you'll visit my table at the International Day, and as I've said, I brought some vodka, so it will be fun. So, and here are 5 characteristics of Ukrainian we are communicative, active, we are always glad to make new friends, so that's why I'm here now. We have a multicultural and scientific potential, and we are proud to be Ukrainians. Next slide, please. And here's a few information about my city, where the Medical Students Union is situated. It's called Zaporozhye. It's a really huge, dynamic industrial city, which is constantly in motion. And as people say, Moscow never sleeps, so Zaporozhye never sleeps too. Next slide. And the most famous thing in Zaporozhye is Khortytsa Island. It's the biggest island standing on the river Dnieper, and it is in the top 7 Ukrainian wonders. So it's really have to see. And we have vodka called Khortytsa, and it's also famous. I've been in America and I've seen this vodka here. Next slide. Dnieper hydroelectric station is also one of the biggest sightseeings in Zaporozhye, and it used to be the largest hydroelectric station in Europe and in Ukraine, of course. Next slide. And now about my university, where Medical Students Union is based. The Zaporozhye State Medical University is on the 2nd place after Kiev Medical University in the top 5 of universities in Ukraine. Its history goes back to 1921, when the pharmaceutical institute was organized in Odessa. So the pharmaceutical blood is in all the students of Zaporozhye Medical University. And since 1964, it was renamed in Zaporozhye Medical Institute as it moved there. And this year we celebrate 50 years of our university, became university, but not the institute. Next slide, please. Zaporozhye State Medical University is a very modern institution, and there are, here's the raw number. We have more than 5,000 foreign students from more than 40 countries, exactly 42 countries. There are 8 faculties. We have our own medical college, and we have our own university clinic where there are many, more than 30, if I'm not mistaken, pharmaceutical labs, and we are the only university in Ukraine that has its own university clinic. So in our university there are about 11,000 students, interns, postgraduates and masters. They're studying, they're having fun, and they are so good. The next slide, please. The main aim of our university is to provide a ground educational base with the help of advanced modern technologies. Each year more and more students come to our university because as I've said, it's really the best from the technology side. It's the best university in Ukraine. Next, please. Ukrainian scientists have been among leading specialists in various spheres, and the dean of our pharmaceutical faculty is known in America, he's known in Asia, in Russia, in Africa, and even in Australia. Next slide, please. We have some original medicines, scientists, with the students, with the group of students of the pharmaceutical faculty, have introduced significant investigations on original medicines like thiotriazolane, thiocetam forte, thiodaron, and indatril, and they are included into the list of necessary drugs. So it was co-working of professors and the students. Next slide, please. Zaporozhye State Medical University was the first university on which base there was a heart and liver transplantation in Ukraine, and Zaporozhye Medical Journal, Zaporozhye Pharmaceutical Journal, magazine Pathology, and current issues in pharmacy and medicine, science and practice are included in leading international scientific web bases like Web of Science. If you know Web of Science, if you don't know, Web of Science has more than 2 million users all around the world, and even Cambridge, Oxford, and more popular universities use this web base. Next slide, please. So, a little bit about us. Our aim, the unique fact about our organization is that we gathered both medical and pharmaceutical students, because when we gathered for the first time, when we did our organization, we thought that medics without pharmacies are nothing, and if there were not medics, then pharmacies wouldn't have a job at all. So we collected them, and we have a really good combination of people. And our main aim is to enhance awareness of the students in medical and pharmaceutical sciences, to introduce the possibilities for an exchange, and to increase social potential of medical students. Next slide, please. And here a little bit information about our project that were recently acknowledging a life-threatening perspective of an AIDS epidemic in the country and in the world at all. We spreaded the ads containing brief information about this disease, granted red ribbons and condoms for the city citizens. Next slide. This is my personally project, and I love it so much. Once per season we visit an orphanage with an amusing program for children. We bring them presents, play with them, perform fairy tales in the form of small scenes. But more often we visit neurological clinic for children in our city. We bring them some medicine, which are collected by the students and the teachers of our university, and sometimes we try to invite famous people from Ukraine and Zaporozhye, maybe some singers, dancers, so they can speak with them, sing with them, or even dance, even in the hospital. Next slide, please. Window for a Future, it's a project which aim is educational webinars. They take place in our university more than 5 times a month. We have webinars from Russia, from Belarus, from Poland. We have webinars all around Europe, and not only the Europe. Next slide. This is, I think that if you don't have this project, I think that it must have in each country Blood for Life. Like no other people, medical and pharmaceutical students understand and realize the importance of blood donation. So this is the reason for organizing donation days, which transformed into a project. It's called Blood for Life. We have in MSU more than 170 people, and each person of our collective went and donated his blood or her blood, and as a result we saved more than 30 lives. Next slide. And finishing, it's not my quote, but I searched it on the internet and I really liked it. So we have great challenges, Ukraine and EPSA, and we have great opportunities, and with your help and with our will, we'll meet them and make this next year the best year in our history. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we will proceed to the questions for the candidate for associate members. Do we have any questions in the GA? Yeah, we have SSFB.
Krishan and SSFB, Romania, are you planning to candidate for the other European association like EPSA, EPSA, or
Thank you for the question. Yeah, first of all, as the pharmaceutical students most contain our organization, we firstly want to join the EPSA, and then when medical and dentistry students will join us, we are planning to join more organizations so that we can do more work and help more in the Europe.
Thank you. Any more questions? I have AFOP and then FIPSA. Oh, do you have a direct, Kati? No, then it's still you, AFOP.
Rian, I'm the LS from AFOP Austria. Marlene and I were just curious because we were like blown by this amount of money you have in your application. How were you able to get 45,000 euros? If that is the correct number. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a correct number. Our university supports us a lot. Yeah. So as we are situated on the base of our university, our rector said that nobody for more than 100 years of being a university never done this before. So he thought that with the budget of our university, it is absolutely possible to give us this sum of money.
Thank you. FIPSA?
Kathy Pipsa Finland. I was just wondering, I was reading your statutes. There is no place that says that your executive or board that there must be like a quota of pharmacists. Is there a possibility that some year there will not be any like pharmacy students in your board or like executive or something like that?
Pharmacy faculty is a little young. In our university, it's more than approximately 20 years instead of 100 years of medics. So I think that pharmacy students will not end approximately for 50 years. So I think that it won't be able for our union to cancel.
Thank you. We have then BPhD.
Yes, Konstantin, BPhD Germany. Also reading your statutes, I see that you're a student association made up of various medical or health worker professions. This is a pharmaceutical society. How do you want to ensure that mostly pharmacists profit from the offers EPSA makes to you and vice versa? How do you want to make sure that pharmacists are the one participating in?
Thanks for the question. Ukraine has a real good pharmaceutical base, and not even in, we have contact with Kiev pharmaceutical factory. So this year, first students are going there for practice for 2 months. They will live there. So we may offer the exchange between our students. For example, they may stay in Kiev pharmaceutical factory and vice versa. And in EPSA, we are interested in more than millions of projects you do. So I think we'll get along with this. That's all.
Thank you. Do I have any more questions or comments on this point? Oh, I have a BPSA with a direct.
This is Anna, BPSA Poland. I'm not sure if I understood correctly the question, because I wanted to ask the same. How you would ensure that pharmacy students will take part in EPSA activities? Because in your statutes, there is nothing about like pharmacy students, because your associations includes all of the healthcare professions. Am I right? So how you would ensure that pharmacists, instead of like only medicine students, would attend the EPSA activities, as they would be like the EPSA members as well?
honestly, I can give you the right answer on this question, but if you think logically, why would a medical student go to the pharmaceutical factory or so on? So that's...
Next I have CPSA. Oh, no, sorry, Mari, I'm sorry. We still have this PPSA with another direct.
Susanna, PPSA Poland. I'm not sure if I asked the question correctly, but for me, like, if you study medicine, also pharmaceutical conferences would be interesting, but maybe you should think about something in your regulations and stating something about pharmacy students.
I have a clarification by BPhD.
Konstantin, BPhD Germany. I'm sorry if it's a dumb question somehow, but I would like clarification on the topic. If it's actually according to EPSA statutes and torso, if we take on a member which is mostly made up of non-pharmacy students. Thank you.
Yeah, I will clarify here. So it is stated in our regulations only that we represent, so that national student associations are those that represent the majority of pharmaceutical students in a specified country, but it is nowhere in our regulations stated that other members cannot be represented by that association. And I have a point of information by Chut.
Yeah, Czech President, HCCM Russia was also a combined association and they were members of EPSA. Thank you.
Thank you, Chut. And with that, would you still like to answer Susanna's question? Okay. Are you clarified, PPSA, or would you like more information? PPSA?
And Susanna,
For voting, so I just point of information. Yeah, sorry, the 9.3 was not seconded.
It was.
It was seconded by Romania. Okay, so
Which one?
we have a 9.3 proposed by KMPSV and seconded by SSB Romania. I open the floor for discussion on the 9.3. I close the floor for discussion on the 9.3 and we'll proceed to the voting. Anyone against the 9.3? So 2 votes against. Any abstentions on the 9.3? Everyone for the 9.3? Please raise your voting cards up high. Okay, still please keep them high. And we have 23 votes for, which means that the procedural motion is carried. That is, the open discussion is closed. So we will thank you very much, but we will now still move to the internal discussion. So I will please ask you to leave the stage. I will implore the help of the helping team and also maybe Nate's. Yeah, so maybe something that I did not state so clearly before. Also during the internal discussion, no one except EPSA team members, the RC and the helping team is allowed to exit or enter the room, which also includes everyone